What if I told you? One of the most dominant, terrifying athletes in the world, a man worth millions, a global superstar, chooses to live like a farmer. No red carpets, no luxury parties, no Hollywood lifestyle, just land, dirt, and hard work. This is the life of Brock Lesnar, a man who could afford anything, but chose something completely different. Before the fame, before the titles, before the millions, Brock Lesnar's life was already tough. Born and raised in South Dakota, he grew up on a farm. And this wasn't a glamorous farm life. This was real work. Early mornings, physical labor, discipline from a young age. While most kids were playing games, Brock was building strength. Not in a gym, but in real life. Carrying, lifting, working, day after day. And maybe that's where everything started. And because this wasn't just a lifestyle, it became his identity. As he grew older, his power became impossible to ignore. Wrestling, athletics, pure dominance. He wasn't just strong, he was different. And soon, that small-town farm boy was stepping into something much bigger. College wrestling, national recognition. And then, the moment that changed everything. WWE. When Brock Lesnar entered WWE, it was like a storm had arrived. Explosive, aggressive, unstoppable. He wasn't just another wrestler, he was a force. Fans were shocked, opponents were destroyed, and within a short time, he became one of the biggest names in the industry. Fame came fast, money came faster. At championships, main events, global recognition, and yet, even at the peak of it all, something about Brock Lesnar felt different, because while others were chasing attention, he wasn't. After WWE success, he didn't just stay in one lane, he moved to UFC. And once again, he dominated, winning the heavyweight championship and proving that his power wasn't limited to one sport. At this point, Brock Lesnar had everything: fame, money, respect. So, here's the question. Why would someone like that walk away from the spotlight? Why would a multimillionaire choose isolation? Why would a global superstar return to a farm life? The answer is not what you think. Because for Brock Lesnar, the fame was never the goal. And what happened next might completely change the way you see him. For most millionaires, success looks like mansions, private jets, luxury parties, and cameras everywhere. But for Brock Lesnar, success looks very different. Miles of land, open sky, heavy machinery, animals, silence. This is the brutal ranch life Brock Lesnar chose. Far away from Hollywood, far away from paparazzi, far away from the spotlight. While many celebrities wake up to assistants and schedules, Brock wakes up to work, real work. Early mornings, cold air, mud, snow, heat. Whatever the weather is, the job still gets done. Feeding animals, maintaining land, repairing equipment, tasks that never end. And that's exactly how he likes it. Because for Brock, this life isn't punishment, it's peace. No fake conversations, no cameras following him, no pressure to impress anyone, just results. And maybe that explains everything. Because Brock Lesnar has always been a man of action, not words. On the ranch, there are no scripts, no promos, no crowd noise, only discipline. The same mindset that made him champion now fuels his private life: consistency, strength, routine. Even with millions in the bank, he still chooses hard work. Why? Because comfort never built Brock Lesnar. Hardship did. Reports and stories about him often describe someone who values privacy above all else. Someone who doesn't need public approval. Someone who genuinely enjoys being left alone. And in today's world, that's rare. Most people chase attention. Brock avoids it. His ranch isn't just property, it's protection. A place where fame can't reach him. A place where he controls the environment. And a place where he can be himself. Imagine going from sold-out arenas to complete silence. For many stars, that would feel empty. For Brock Lesnar, it feels perfect. He has said through the years in different ways that he never loved the celebrity lifestyle. He loved competition. He loved winning. But fame, that was never the reward. That's why when the matches end, he disappears. Not for drama, not for mystery, but because that's who he really is. And while fans wonder where he goes, he's likely doing something most people wouldn't expect. Working, fixing, building, training, living simply. There's also something powerful about this choice, because when someone can afford luxury, but still chooses simplicity, that tells you luxury was never the point. Brock Lesnar doesn't need noise to feel important. He already knows who he is. In a world full of people performing success, he quietly lives it. But don't mistake quiet for soft. This ranch life is demanding. physical, unforgiving, and it fits him perfectly. Because Brock was never built for comfort zones. He was built for challenge. After building one of the most intimidating careers in sports history, there was one thing left for Brock Lesnar to conquer: life after fame. And this is where the story gets even more interesting. Because most people assume when athletes make millions, they start living bigger. Bigger homes, bigger parties, bigger headlines. But Brock Lesnar, he moved in the opposite direction. While the world expected extravagance, he chose distance. While others chased attention, he protected privacy. And while many stars spend to impress, Brock spends to live free. Let's talk money. Over the years, between WWE contracts, UFC fights, premium appearances, and merchandise deals, Brock built serious wealth. Estimates place his fortune in the multi-million-dollar range. And yet, you'd never know it by how he lives. Because wealth for Brock doesn't look flashy. It looks useful. Land, equipment, security, space, things that can't be bought with trends, things that last. And that mindset may be the real reason he stayed ahead. Because many celebrities earn millions, then lose millions trying to maintain an image. But Brock Lesnar never seemed interested in image, only control. Even his vehicles tell the story. Forget flashy sports cars lined up for social media. Brock is known for preferring power, heavy-duty trucks, rugged machines, dependable performance, vehicles that match the man. Strong, practical, built for hard conditions. But here's where it gets deeper. His choices reveal something rare. He knows exactly who he is, and people who know who they are can't be manipulated by trends. That's why fame never fully consumed him, because long before championships, long before television lights, he had already been shaped by a harder world, one built on work, discipline, and survival. So when the spotlight came, he used it, but he never became it. Fans still wonder what happens when he disappears. Where does he go? What is he doing? Why stay away so long? The mystery itself became part of his legend. Because unlike many stars, Brock Lesnar doesn't need to be constantly seen to remain unforgettable. And every time people think he's gone for good, rumors begin. A comeback. One last fight. Another shocking return. Because with Brock, silence often comes before impact. But whether he returns or not, there's something bigger happening behind the scenes. He may be proving that the smartest celebrities aren't the loudest ones. They're the ones building lives no one can take from them. No constant cameras, no pressure to perform daily, no chasing approval from strangers, just strength, privacy, and ownership. And maybe that's why Brock Lesnar still fascinates people. Not just because of what he did in the ring, but because of what he refused to become outside of it. For years, millions of fans looked at Brock Lesnar and saw only one thing: a beast, powerful, aggressive, unstoppable. But behind that image, there was always something deeper. And part 4 is where everything finally makes sense. Because Brock Lesnar's ranch life was never about hiding. It was about escaping something many celebrities never can: the trap of fame. Think about it. Most stars spend years trying to become famous, then spend the next years trying to protect themselves from it. The noise, the pressure, the expectations, the feeling that the world owns a piece of you. But Brock Lesnar chose differently. He stepped into fame, used it, built wealth from it, then walked away before it could consume him. That takes something rare. Self-awareness. Because not everyone knows what truly makes them happy. Some chase applause forever. Some keep buying bigger things, hoping it fills the emptiness. But Brock, he already knew what peace looked like. Open land, hard work, no cameras, no fake energy, no need to impress anyone. And maybe that's why so many people misunderstand him. They see silence and mistake it for arrogance. They see distance and mistake it for coldness. But sometimes distance is discipline. Sometimes privacy is protection. Brock Lesnar built a life where he answers to almost no one. That's a kind of freedom money alone can't buy. Yes, he earned millions. Yes, he became champion in WWE and UFC. Yes, he created one of the most feared reputations in sports history. But his greatest win may have happened after the titles, when he chose a life that actually fit him. No pretending to love celebrity culture. No chasing relevance every day. No desperate need to stay in headlines. Just authenticity. And in today's world, that's more powerful than fame. Fans still ask, will Brock return again? Could there be one last shocking comeback? Another run, another fight, another moment that breaks the internet? And with Brock Lesnar, you can never say never. Because unpredictability became part of the legend. He vanishes, then returns when nobody expects it. But whether he comes back or not, his legacy is already complete. He dominated multiple sports. He became unforgettable. And then he showed the world something even rarer. how to walk away on your own terms. That's why his story matters, because it proves success isn't one size fits all. For some people, success is spotlight. For others, it's silence. For some, it's being seen by millions. For Brock Lesnar, it may simply be waking up on his land, breathing free and owing nothing to anyone. So why does Brock Lesnar live like a farmer despite millions? Because for him, that isn't a downgrade. That's victory. And maybe the most brutal truth of all is that many rich people would trade everything for the kind of peace he already has. If you enjoyed this story, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because here on Life of Legends, we don't just show fame, we reveal what it costs. And trust me, the next legend story might shock you even more.